Hey, Christian Indies. Jen here. I'm with joined tonight by Tina and Rhonda. It sounds so much better when I practice it. What in the world? Always,
Yeah.
always. And we are here for Preptober. What is
Yay.
Preptober? Tina, what's Preptober?
It's when we're prepping in October for November
So we're
for
lazy.
National Novel Writers Month.
Oh, how logical.
30 days of literary abandon.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure I read that on the Nano website. So
I was going to say that was like really good.
I'm
I
going to
think
approach it way different this year.
I think I wrote in our description for this little live, I wrote the largest or the biggest writing month of the year, but you that was much better. So, oh, fun. So yes, so National Novel Writing Month starts November 1st, and the very first year I did Nano, I just was like, I thought I had planned, but I was not a planner at that point, and it was a disaster. Of course, I also got cancer, so that probably didn't help the situation. But since then, I have learned to plan, and taking the month of October to prep for November is a game changer. I was actually able to finish an entire novel in November 2 Novembers ago because I had planned well enough. So here we are. We thought we'd come together and chat and hopefully have some people come on and join us for chat about this. It's late. Jen needs a nap.
past your bedtime? Well, not quite.
Not quite. 8 o'clock. Yep. So, ladies, I thought tonight, since this is our first Preptober little chat, that we would talk about what ifs. Now, what ifs are something I use with all my novels. Tina, you do as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, not with all of them, but it is something that I did use to come up with my plot line for my second book.
Oh, good. What about you, Rhonda?
Tonight, you two will convince me that I need to do that also.
Okay. Your microphone it's messing up, but it's also really, really quiet. I don't know what the deal is. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some static every now and then, like your connection isn't quite all connected. No.
So you're just going to speak real loud for us.
You just have to yell at us, Rhonda. Something I know you've always wanted to do.
Hope you just muted yourself now. You're muted. Yeah, it's way better. I don't have to listen to you at all. This is perfect.
Okay, is that better?
That's much better.
Yeah,
okay,
that is better. Okay, so we're going to convince Rhonda tonight to do what ifs. Rhonda is definitely a planner, so she has kind of her own system. So she may not need to do what ifs, but this is for me. This is like the outlining, the pre-planning, oh, I should have brought it in here. The isolation booth. Yeah, my storyboard. We call it my isolation booth. This is what I just start off with. And this is really where my story starts to kind of come to life. I might have an idea and then I don't know where to go from there. Or I just kind of have like a vague idea. Like, wouldn't it be cool if there was a female pastor, but back when the church was like new? Like, so that's where that idea came from. And then it fleshed it out. So first of all, we're going to talk about our projects. You guys know what project you're doing for NaNoWriMo this year?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, Rhonda, you go first, Rhonda. Tell us what you're doing.
So, my year has been pretty up in the air since Nano last year. And so, really, after December, I didn't do a whole lot of writing on that novel because I wanted to give it the attention that I thought it deserved because I really like the storyline.
Okay.
But I didn't feel like I could do that in the little spurts of time that I had here and there. So now everything is kind of settled back down in my life and I'm going to start over fresh. I'm not starting over. I've got a really solid first draft. Basically, so my first draft is like a super solid outline. And so I've got every scene outlined. And I know everything that's going to happen. So what I need to do is fill in the blanks, fill in the reedy part.
Okay. So the opposite of Rhonda. So when last year for Nano, the past like Camp Nanos and Nanos, I have this one project that has been floating around there and I work on it and like something comes and derails it. Like I lost another family member last year at Nano time. Anyway, I was going to do my Widows of the West book 1. I was going to get it done. And then the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, it's pretty solid. Like when I go back to it, I really need to like spend, I do need to spend a month on it, but I don't need to spend a nano month on it. It's like that solid. And so I'm like, gosh, like I love to use nano to really like produce something like that to where it's like pretty solid. It's almost there. So that all I have to do is tweak it and like, add a few more chapters and make it in. So like, I'm like, all right, do I want to write the book 2 for Widows of the West? I'm like, no, because I don't have Widows of the West done enough to know what I want. I kind of know who's going to be the next character, but I don't know what happens to that character for sure in this book, right?
Jennifer,
So like,
this is a roller coaster for me.
I'm sorry.
I thought you were going to say you're going to finish that book, this nano, and I'm so sad. Anyway,
sorry, Rhonda. I'm sorry. So then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm done avoiding it. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a contemporary. Yes, all of our like sprints, I tend to like navigate towards like the contemporary when I'm writing quickly, and nano's all about writing quickly. And so I'm thinking I could probably finish an entire novel if I did contemporary.
Well, you've been threatening that for a long time.
I know. So then I'm deciding, okay, do I want to do my my older couple, like do the marriage one?
Yes, or that is what you want to do.
Or
there's a baseball one though too.
Oh,
yeah. There's the baseball one. Or there's Marnie. Do you remember Marnie, the character, the sassy character that just keeps showing up everywhere? And so I think Marnie wins. I'm gonna do. So the reason why I want to do Marnie is because I don't really know her story enough. The older couple, I know a lot of their story. It's not structured enough, but like I could sit down and write shorts all day long about that couple and just keep going on and on. And maybe it wouldn't be a book; it would just be a bunch of little stories that we would just kind of keep following with the couple. But Marnie, like I really want to see this character. I really, really, really want to write a romantic comedy with her. So I think that's the direction I'm gonna go. Now, could it be a baseball romance? It could. I don't know. This is why we're gonna do what ifs tonight. So, all right, Tina, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a contemporary. I'm very excited. I also want to say I can see that we have some people viewing. If you're just tuning in with us, this is not a normal podcast. If you missed the beginning, we are doing a Preptober every Sunday night. We're going to talk kind of through our preparations for NaNoWriMo. Why don't you just mention in the chat who you are, say hi to us, let us know what you're working on or what we can help you on. Like maybe you need us to help you with some what ifs. We'd love to do that. All right, Tina, your turn. What is your project?
Okay, so I said earlier that I didn't really use what ifs before, but my first novel was a what if question, but I didn't sit down to purposely write what if questions. It just popped into my head while I was teaching a Bible study. But this time, so that book is done and ready to be released on November 14th.
Yay!
Yay! Which is my birthday, so that's a great birthday present. Happy birthday to me. So I knew that I wanted to work on book 2 because it's at least going to be a trilogy during Nano. So I sat down, when was it? Last week sometime, and I just started writing what if questions. I'm just going to show you my little notebook here where I wrote.
Where everyone can see it big. Look at how pretty that is.
It's very pretty.
Explain to us, you've got the black is the question, and then is the orange your answer to it? Like you've discovered what the answer is?
No, what happened was I wrote out all these questions, and I had 12 of them when I got done. And I was looking at it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can use all 12 of these questions in my story.
That's awesome.
Because they each one kind of leads to the next one. Because that's what happened in my head. My what if questions were leading to the next what if question. So this is my plot of my story right here. So I started writing in orange, like, how do we get from question 1 to question 2? Like, what happens that gets them there? So I have that about halfway filled in, and I'm feeling good.
That's awesome
about this.
Anyone too that is scratching their head saying, what do you mean by what ifs? K.M. Weiland has a blog and has lots of books out there. She's the first person I was introduced to what if questions. A lot of authors use them, but she's got great resources on it. So we're just going to tell you right now that what ifs are where you sit down and you just kind of make a list of what if this happened? What if that happened? Whatever pops in your head. it could be absolutely ridiculous. Something you're never going to use. That's okay. Just put it down, because I've had times where I thought it was so ridiculous and I end up using it or something similar. So it's just a really fun, creative brainstorming activity to get you started, because a lot of people look at planners. Cam Weiland was on Joanna Penn's, the Creative Pen this last week, and they were talking about this, and she's like, I think that planners and pantsers are the same people. They just do the creative part at different times, right? So I get excited about planning because that's when the story like emerges, and that's when the story like kind of pops in my head, and it, where other like pantsers, they don't want to plan because the story emerges when they write. So we still are enjoying the same part of the writing. But so anyways,
Yeah,
so
and I have to say, you were talking about your first Nano. My first Nano was this book that I'm releasing, and it was like 10 years ago. And all I had was that what if question, and I never sat down to plan anything. I just started typing in November, and and so I only wrote in November for many years, because I planned to write it, but then I would just put it away, and then, oh, it's November, I'll bring it out again. So eventually I had 90,000 words of just nothing. Like, it didn't go anywhere. So there were huge holes in it. And so it really suffered from not having a planning process.
My very first Nano ended up being Avoiding Esther, my second book. So what was your first Nano, Rhonda?
My first Nano will never see the light of day for
a lot of people,
the same reasons, but it was a great experience because I didn't realize that I didn't know as much as I didn't know about writing.
Yeah. Same. All right, so let's get it kicked off. Tina, you already have yours written out. So let's just do the what ifs. Don't read the how do you get there, because that we're not talking about that yet.
Okay.
So you do that, and then Rhonda and I, as you're reading, we might interject some other what ifs, or when you're done, or you might come up with some other. You don't have to use these. That's the whole part. The fun part about what ifs is just getting those ideas out there.
My ideas are going to be great.
I am not going to read out loud because they would give away what happens in the first book.
Totally. Oh yeah, totally.
So I'm not going to do that, but I have some juicy ones that won't give anything away.
Awesome.
So the first book is about Angelica finding grace. So now that she's found grace, I said, what if she were struggling with her faith due to lack of visible signs and wonders? Because in the first book, she could see the spiritual world. But now she can't. Now she has to walk by faith like all the rest of us, with the Holy Spirit indwelling.
That's good. That is good stuff.
And so the last book was set in the spring, which is a season of new life. This next book is going to be set in the dead of the Alaskan winter.
Oh, wow.
So I'm making the setting part like almost a character, because the setting is going to reflect her spiritual condition. So that was my first what if question.
Okay.
Interesting.
She's got to skip a bunch. So
yeah, this is hard because okay, so there's like a bad guy in the first book. So some of my what if questions are like, what if she came and deposed Angelica's father as the high priest and took over as high priest? And then what if Angelica has to come and have like a Elijah and the prophets of Baal kind of battle?
One of my favorite stories
with this bad guy. So that was, and I can't say the next one because it would give away what happens during that battle.
Well, okay. Can I throw a what if at you?
Sure.
Yes.
What if this bad guy is a David Blaine sort of character, and he's able to produce some of these signs and wonders that she wants so bad to throw her off?
You don't have to tell me who David Blaine is.
He's a magician.
He's just one of those magicians.
Oh, okay.
Like David Copperfield or whatever.
Illusionist, yeah.
Illusionist.
Yeah, and then that could, her faith is wavering because she sees all this.
And the world around her is also like believing it. You know what I mean? So that's another layer. Like when everyone else is saying, oh yeah, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way. but that's not what the word is saying. It still can sometimes makes it a little, harder to like say, oh, okay. So you have that level. Is there
Yeah.
romantic interest in this? Just
There is.
wondering.
There is, but he is not physically present in most of the story. So that's another thing that she's dealing with.
So what if he was physically present in the story? I'm just teasing. I'm not trying to wreck your story. I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. So what if, yeah, like you have a solid, so I don't have a whole lot of, that was a good what if that Rhonda gave you.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these are like actual actions that take place, and I don't have the what ifs for her, like her arc.
Oh, okay. Let's talk
Her
about
arc from going from struggling with her faith, like in basically the desert. I mean, it's frozen tundra, but I would say that's the desert of Alaska.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
where
she's
do you
going
want her to end up?
Well, I want her to end up with her faith being strengthened by the hardships and the trials that she goes through, which is what happens in everybody's spiritual walk. That you go from faith to faith, the Bible says, and so you have these struggles and these trials you go through, and each one brings you from faith to faith, and your faith grows as you go. If you never had trials and struggles, your faith would never grow because you would have no reason to use it.
Yes,
Is she
that's
going
why
on
my faith is so huge.
Yeah. Does she have a physical journey that she's going on as well, like she did the first book?
Yes.
So where does she start and where does she end, or can you not tell us that?
Well, it's pretty much the same journey, but for a different reason. Okay. So she's going to end up going back to Anchorage.
Okay. Can you tell us anybody that will be a companion with her along the way?
Well, there's going to be a lot of the same people. One of my what ifs were, what if her mom and dad and grandpa had to flee and go to Russia? Because Russia is only 3 miles from Alaska. We really can't.
I heard you can see it
from our backyard. Like not our physical backyard, but from the state of Alaska's backyard. There's 3 miles of Bering Sea between Alaska land and Russia land. And so if they have to flee for reasons I can't reveal at the moment, that would be a very logical place for them to go because this river goes that way. So that's one of the what ifs that I had.
What if Chugiak dies? Okay, this is what ifs are for. Take a deep breath.
Maybe that's why her faith faltered.
Oh, my word.
Because God, when we put too much into things of this world, and those things of those world are more important to us than Him, sometimes those have to come away in order to peel away in order for us to have nowhere to look but to God. Right. Just a what if, you don't have to do it, but if
so if her mom and dad grandpa have to flee, and her love interest is in trouble, and Chugiak is dead, that would be a good reason for her to lose her faith.
Tina, if you break my heart, I'm putting the book down. Let me tell you that.
You can also use, if you decided to use, if Chugiak passes away, you could also use that as your third disaster, 75% in the book, because she's going to have something that happens that could lose her faith, or like entirely, or that she chooses to not lose her faith over it. Do you know what I mean? Like there has to be that there has to be another disaster, but her arc won't have changed if everything bad happens at the beginning and then things are good. And then so, okay, I do have faith. Like if things continue to happen bad, but her arc is changing anyway. So that's an option. What if the love interest died? What if the love interest married someone else? I'm thinking of like disasters. I'm thinking of bad things. Rhonda wants to kill me right now. But
because I've got some good things. So
Rhonda, you need to go back and watch our episode on I Love You, But You Have to Die. Hurting our characters.
I can't wait to this.
And especially around this whole Elijah and the prophets of Baal kind of battle, after that happened, Elijah got super depressed and ran off and hid in a cave. because there's something that happens when you're in the spiritual battle. Afterwards, you are very, very vulnerable, and you kind of have like where you're up here and then you just go plummet down, and you can get physically exhausted from it. I mean, I've been there, so I know like that feeling of just it takes everything out of you. And so that's going to be something's going to happen to her right after.
And we know that she does rely on Chugiak for emotional support. So like when you're in those valleys, like when she should be maybe relying on God, she might rely on him, like the dog and stuff, I don't know. Just a thought.
That is a good thought.
So, sorry, Rhonda.
What if Chugiak had a secret litter of puppies? And now she's got a new companion she finds along the way at her lowest moment. I think that's a good turn of events.
I'm not against her having another dog. I'm not against her rescuing, something else, but I'm not against her. I'm not saying you have to kill Chugiak. It's just a what if statement. So
I have a feeling
I feel like that's like an epilogue kind of story.
The other puppy?
The other puppy, and you realize it's Chugiak's puppy.
Well, if you need to bring her and another character together, maybe someone that she wasn't really interested in getting to know, and this person, they get to know each other because of the puppy. I don't know. That's as far as I've gone with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that idea.
I don't know if that fits in with my story. Like that, I don't know if that's too feel good.
Yeah,
right.
Probably
like my books are not really feel good.
Yeah,
but the idea that like somewhere early in the story we know that there's another dog, like wherever she is, and then later on the story there are puppies, and you put two and two together, like the puppy. There's a puppy that like looks just like Chugiak, whatever. Like I'm not against that. Like I love, you know me, I want a happily ever after, but there's got to be some bumps in the road along the way, and that would make a total sense that like and her grandpa dying would be a big deal. But he's an old guy. Right. Like it's not a shocker. The dog would be like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" That kind of moment.
And her relationship with her father has always been contentious. So,
and she could go for the unwanted runt again, maybe with the same little black spot on its nose or whatever that Chugiak had.
Yeah, that's an idea.
That's an idea. Do you want more? I could probably find someone else to die in your book, or I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh well, who says I haven't killed them already?
Who knows?
That might have a feeling he's gone. Yeah. So, are you able to let us know if she's got a companion?
What do you mean?
What kind of companion?
Go through the journey with.
I have not decided that yet.
Okay.
All right.
So what if
I do have a question here? What if Angelica raised a group of warriors? I'm not going to tell you why. So maybe some of those warriors will become her. Yeah. Her like closest.
Wasn't there a child in the village in the first one that sort of followed her around in one scene? So
we will see her again.
Is she companion material?
I haven't decided yet if she's going to be the companion or not. I might have another role for her.
Okay. Is she going to get along with her companion?
She doesn't know who the companion is yet, right? So
right. But is that what you have in mind? Is a relationship where they get along or don't get along, or?
I don't know.
That's a good point. What if it's her dad? What if she has to forgive her dad? What if like part of her growth and the reason why like there's this like block between her and God is because she's not forgiving her father. And then God,
that's a good one.
Chugiak's taken away, and then like so then she has to forgive her dad, even though he's not like forgivable. Like you can make him turn out like change or whatever, but you don't have to, because that would make a really complex story that she has to forgive her dad even though he's not a good guy, even though he's still kind of a jerk. Like for her to be able to look at him and say, he's a damaged person, like I'm a damaged person, and he did the best he could.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
an idea.
That's a good idea.
Thanks. And then you kill him. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
Avalanche.
Russia somewhere as good as dead, right?
I mean, yeah. What if her dad is who killed Chugiak?
Oh, he
Mm.
would.
And she has to forgive, like not right away has to forgive him, but as the story goes on, I don't know. Or what if like I kind of like the idea of Chugiak being the third disaster, because then she has to like really make the choice to choose God and shoot and keep her faith or turn away from him. So I don't know, that's just a thought.
That's a really good idea because she still has struggles ahead of her at
Yeah.
the end of the book. Like it's
Mhm.
not done.
Right. But it's the last turning point. Like it's do or die. I'm either going to go keep my faith or I'm gonna lose
Right.
it and go off the deep end.
And
You know
really,
what I mean?
that's the story of this book.
Yeah.
Like what happens to the characters are they're
Mhm.
part of it,
Mhm.
but they're not. It's not part. Is not going to be fully resolved until the next book.
Mhm.
All right.
So
Is she going to be going to Russia with her parents, or they just are trying to escape?
I don't. Yeah, they're going to go. She's not. She has a quest. So
But why not?
she
Like you
might.
know why? Like how
I
what is
do
keeping
know why.
Okay, okay.
And she may end up there in book 3.
Oh, okay.
So
What if there was someone trying to pull them to the United States or whatever that is down south of Canada now instead of Russia?
For anyone that's just tuning in, we know what's south of Canada, but in Tina's book, it's set in the future, so we don't know what's south of
it's
Canada.
no
in the
longer the
book.
United States.
I know my geography's bad, but
We live south of Canada, so we know.
Yes.
I just all of a sudden had
Barely.
this image of somebody just tuning in going,
Hey, it
"She's
even
dumb."
took me a minute to realize that she was talking about in the future.
It's your book.
Well done.
That's the best.
That's like earlier when you asked Jamie if she was doing NABO.
Yeah,
Like,
typo.
what is NABO? Like, did I miss something?
I meant nano. I was like trying to do
it
like
was
3
just a
things at once.
typo, and my brain just didn't see the typo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. You feel pretty good about this?
I do.
Got some little sparks flying in your little head?
Yeah, I do.
All
Got a
right.
name for the new puppy?
We don't
I'm
even
sorry. What did she say?
Do you have a name for the new puppy yet?
Rhonda.
No.
Oh wait, I'm not writing this book. What?
It should be a girl. This one should be a girl. If you do that idea. I don't know why. Just because I feel like it should be. It's
Yeah.
not my book. All right. So since Rhonda's probably still not convinced that she needs to do this, we'll move on to
Yep.
my book.
Yes.
So I am writing a contemporary romance. I would like it to be romantic comedy, mostly because the character that I'm going to use is what's up with my headphones? The character I'm going to use whenever I write her, she's snarky and does like puts her foot in her mouth, and so all I'm going on right. This is totally beginning. So those of you that are just tuning in and missed the beginning of this little chat, we're talking about what if statements. And I've decided for NaNoWriMo that I'm going to write a contemporary. I've written contemporary shorts, but this will be my first contemporary novel, contemporary romance. And in our sprints for the podcast, this character shows up often. And I don't have a story. I really don't have a story for her yet. So this is where the what ifs come into play. So her name is, I think I'm keeping Marnie. It kind of feels like that she's a Marnie. Yeah. And I'm gonna give you a reminder of 2 sprints that I wrote with her in them. One of them was where she is going to her best friend's, or going to a restaurant and meet up with her best friend who has a new girlfriend who's got a very similar name to his ex-wife. And then when she gets there, so she's in her head saying, say the right name, say the right name. And then when she gets there, the woman turns and looks at her and she swears it's the ex-wife. That's how much she looks like her. Do you remember this one?
Oh, wow.
And but it's not. And she says the wrong name. And they're, because the guy can't see it. He can't see it at all. So that's one. I don't know that I want her to have a romantic interest with him. Maybe. I don't know. I could take that idea with any character, but I don't think I don't think I want to use it with Marnie. The other one was she's got convinced to go to one of those painting parties where they serve wine. And because her good friend was going, but she found out that the good friend invited this other girl that she doesn't get along with. Remember? And she's like, bring me more wine already. Like she kind of has that idea.
Yep.
She's the girl from oh, that's right. I used that name in the Christmas Story. But see, this is not the same girl because that girl
Oh.
is not that's too mousy.
Hmm.
Yeah. Thanks, Jamie, for reminding me. So maybe I'll have to go with either another name or I'll have to change the name in that Christmas Story, which I never finished. So yeah, I forgot about that. So no, it's not the same girl. She lives in Lamford or Lambden or whatever. What?
Landon. She can't remember
Is
the name
that
of her town.
oh, we named it Landon? I don't
Yeah.
even remember that.
I don't either. Isn't that bad?
Yeah. So, all right. So that's all I have. Like, so this is a wide open what if. Like, my first one is what if I wrote a story where the guy she falls for already has a girlfriend. And there's a reason why I'm bringing this up is because I hate those stories.
Mm.
I hate them. I used to watch all the Hallmark movies, and I thought they're all great. And then who's now a graduate from college, but he was in high school. He's like, "Why do you watch the ones where they're cheating on their where there's always cheating going on?" And I was like, "Cheating?"
Uh-huh.
And he's like, "He's dating her, but they're falling in love." He goes like, "That is just wrong." He's like,
I'm
they
with
should.
you.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I never thought about that." So it would be a challenge to me to write a love story based on one of them is dating someone else. Yes, love. Thank you. I could not think of the right. Jamie says love triangle trope. Yes, that would be a challenge for me to write it in a way that wasn't like, or that wasn't like someone cheating. I don't know that I want to do that, but it's the first what if. What if it was a love triangle trope? That's all I got so far.
All right.
ladies,
do you know what
bring
she
it
does
on.
for a living?
No. What should she do for a living?
I don't know yet.
If it was going to be
Should
a baseball thing, she
a
could do
matchmaker.
That's not bad.
And everybody else is finding love. She can put anybody together, but she can find love for anyone else but herself.
Oh, kind of like the movie The Wedding Planner too, where she was
I never
a wedding
saw
planner.
that. So.
I didn't like it because again, it's a cheating one. The guy that she's falling for and is falling for her, he's getting married. Oh, we hear Leroy Brown coming on. So, we lost Tina for just a second. So those of you tuning in, we were hoping not, but Tina has a neighbor that uses ham radio, and he put a new like antenna up, and now and he only does it at night, but when he does ham radio, it comes through her computer. She can't hear it, but we can all hear it. So that's why she's taking off her headphones. But you're muted, Tina, so we can't hear you now either. Can you hear us? You're muted, sweetheart.
Oh, I was going to say, if you have a ham radio and you happen to know Bad Leroy Brown, could you ask him to cease and desist?
Okay, so Jamie says, what if she has to be in a play with him?
Yes. Okay.
They fall in love on set and they don't confess love until there is a schism in the relationship on one side. Okay.
Okay,
right, that's not bad.
Along those lines, what if she moved from her little hometown to the nearest big town, which isn't like even Chicago size or New York size, but it's like, I don't know, Flint size compared to Otisville, maybe?
Okay.
So she moves so that she can be part of this off-Broadway production thing.
Okay. All right.
Like it's a transition in her life and she's got a decision to make and she decides to go for a dream.
Okay. All right. The only reason I'm not like loving that, it's not like hitting me like I love it, because I don't have a lot of experience with that myself. So like I wanted something that like I could write like so easily. Like, what if she's a journalist? Because I went to school for that. What if she is like a sports reporter? Like if it was gonna be a sports team one, but she's a sports reporter.
He's a teacher and his child is in her class.
I like that idea. I do like that, teacher, and yep, I like that idea. And then there could be like a whole mistaken identity. She could think that he's married and he's not at all. Like it could be like, like his sister that helps him, like by dropping the kid off sometimes.
Maybe they just have a really good friendship still. And a lot of people will get along really great when it comes to their kid and doing right by their kid. And so
Yeah.
they seem like a couple.
Right. Jamie says, I like that he doesn't believe in my dream trope Rhonda is hinting at. What if she murders her boyfriend? Well, then it wouldn't be a romance. But it's a good what if. It's a what if.
They wouldn't
right?
end up together, I guess.
Right. So going back to like the wine one. So I never got to finish that sprint, but in my mind, she's like trying to get more wine, and the guy's walking by, and she's a little snippy to him because she's in a bad mood because of what's going on. And the guy stops and serves her wine, whatever. Kind of find out he doesn't work there. That was his bottle to go back to, like, he's there to paint too. I thought that would be hilarious that like she meets this really handsome guy and she thinks he's the teacher and he's not. Let's see. In all seriousness, what if she runs AA meetings? I don't want to do that. Sorry. And she thinks he has an issue, but really it is a relative, or if they are trying not to fall in love because of recovery.
Could she go to the meeting to support somebody else and see him there and not know that he's there supporting somebody else?
Maybe. That's not a bad idea.
How are you going to have them meet?
Oh, I thought it was the wine.
If I do that one, it's going to be it's going to be the painting thing. So
you're right.
Yeah. So those are some good ideas. That gets me started. I could start planning out disaster, like, because you take a trope, right? I write romance. So if I take a trope, all I got to do is like figure out which trope I want, and then I figure out these characters and how would they react to these disasters within this trope. So like if I chose the trope, he's dating somebody else, then I got to put disasters in, like, so she's attracted to him, finds out he's dating someone else. Then the first disaster is his kid is in her class. So she has to deal with him all the time. Right. Or the first disaster is she gets a new job and she has to report on whatever sports team that he's in. Or maybe she's, I don't know. Like, or maybe she works in the office. Go ahead, Tina.
What? You knew I wanted to say something.
Yeah. Because you went, ooh.
What if she becomes friends with the girlfriend or wife and she really likes her?
Yeah.
And what if she has like a terminal disease and she ends up dying?
That's not so much. That's a great what if. It's not a comedy, but I don't have to write a comedy.
Right.
I could just write a romance. That's a really good one.
And that could be why they get along so well. The husband and wife, ex-husband and wife, get along so well because she's dying. I need to explain something
they were married, but she dies, and then they could get together after that.
Yeah. Okay, Rhonda.
So one of our viewers has a question about why aren't we writing these down? Well, that's because we're just going to rewatch the whole episode.
Yeah. I don't even see that on here. Who was it? Jamie, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh. What if I haven't even read this whole thing and I got to share it. What if she works on a turkey processing farm and falls in love with a vegan activist?
See, that's so great because she can
Jamie would write.
Yes. These what ifs are supposed to be so far out there to get your imagination going.
Sometimes.
She can do it so good. I just don't
Jamie
get my out there.
Jamie could write that story. It would be the best thing ever. I would write it and be like, not so much. Yeah, that is hilarious. So that would be fun to read for sure. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm kind of starting to think, all right, so what if instead of it being an ex-wife, what if it is his sister? Let's go back to that one because they could have the same last name. Maybe she never married or isn't married or kept her maiden name. If she kept her maiden name and is married, she might mention her husband and or maybe it's a sister-in-law. What if it's a sister-in-law and they have the same last name and she helps out with the kid? And so of course it would be very confusing. And so there could be a lot of going back and forth. And then she finally discovers that that he's not married, but then there have to be another disaster, right? I kind of like that. There could be a lot of mistakes made in that kind of situation.
He could have a huge family of women who all are taking on the wife role as much as you can as a sister to take care of him and his life and his food and making sure he gets everything that not everything a wife would give him, but and so lots of opportunities. Oh, this isn't his girlfriend or wife, but this is his girlfriend or wife. That's the one. And
I
it's
think
not, because it's just another sister.
Or she thinks he's cheating on his wife.
Yeah.
Because she would have a different name. So that one with a different name would be a sister.
Yeah.
So like the sister-in-law who would be married to his brother would drop it off and has the same last name, Mrs. whatever Smith. And then another girl comes in and she sees, I don't know, at some point she sees them hugging or whatever. And then she's like, thinks he's a big fat jerk because he's cheating. And then she sees the little boy with the girlfriend thinking like he's all happy about it. I'm like, he's introduced his son to the affair. Like there's so much there. There is so much there. So I think that could be really
a total comedy of errors.
Yes. And I can still do the painting thing because he could be like going and sitting with like it could be his sister-in-law and maybe his brother-in-law is there too. Maybe there could be a whole group of them. I've never been to one of these things. So I'm just guessing what this is.
Well, maybe one of his sisters is the painter.
Oh yeah, or owns the studio.
The class teaches the class.
Oh yeah, I was thinking you were at a showing or something. I didn't remember the original story.
Oh no, like what we have around here. What is it called? Painting with a twist or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Something like I've never been to one, but I don't know. When I sprinted, that came out, so I don't even have to use it. But.
It could be at his sister's house because she's the teacher, and he could just like walk in and like go in the kitchen and make a sandwich. You know how you do, and it's like you're sitting in his house, and
but they're usually at studios. Like you go there and it's like a place with a bunch of tables set up. And I know that much. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have to do some research, ladies, and go do one of these.
I've always wanted to do one.
Yeah, me too.
My kids have them at their house and they will just they have Bob Ross videos.
Oh, fun.
Put the video in and like that's what my kids do for fun.
Happy little trees. That's awesome. All right, that gives me a lot to start with. So there's some good what ifs there. I'll probably do some more work on what ifs this week. But all right, Rhonda, I know you started yours. Do you need what ifs, or do you feel like yours is pretty solid?
Well, in the middle, it's pretty blah right now. I don't think my disasters are quite what they could be.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, I'm set, but the middle one, yeah, I'm not really thrilled that much. I was hoping to improve it.
Can you give us a little bit of insight on your story? And then can you tell us what the first disaster is?
Yes. So a woman is at the end of a relationship and she moves back to her hometown. And she isn't 100% sure she knows what she wants to do, but she's got an idea, or at least she has a dream. She went back to her hometown because she was given a job opportunity, but it's not a long-term one. So she's hoping to, if she can fulfill her dreams, become a full-time researcher. And it's a contemporary, so she's able to do it online from her little hometown. So she meets a guy right away. She's living with her sister in the beginning until she finds a place. She befriends a few new people she didn't know before. And so anyway, the job she's hired to do is to solve a family, basically genealogy mystery for an old family. And her love interest is, against her will, thrown onto the job with her.
Okay.
And that's just not disastrous enough yet. And also, I just kind of glossed over most of the middle.
Right. Well, it could be disastrous enough if we knew why that was going to be a problem for her.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what does it mean when he gets put on the job with her? Does it mean that
she doesn't feel like she's trusted to do it on her own, and she wants to prove to herself and to the rest of the world that this is something she can do.
So you need to add a little bit more tension between them earlier on in the story. So when they run in, like, do they know each other from childhood, or she just meets him? Okay,
she knows a lot of people that he knows from childhood, but they didn't know each other in childhood.
So he needs to do something or say something very sexist. So if your thing is that she wants people to see that she can do this on her own and that that's important to her, the last person she would want on a job with her that would have to help her would be somebody that she at least thinks is sexist and that thinks that she can't do it and he's controlling and is going to take over the whole thing and going to make her look like a fool, something like that. So you need to have a conversation before then so that he comes off somehow as being like, and it could be a misunderstanding. But to her, like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I have to do this job with this sexist pig that is a control freak, and
maybe he's not really sexist, but he comes off that way to her. Yeah. Maybe he's irritated that they're making him like keep or not babysit her or something, and he comes off as condescending or whatever.
Right.
He's irritated.
Like she'll have ideas. And then he comes up with another idea that's just a little bit better. And everyone's like, that's so great. That would get under her skin. So that would be a real disaster. Like you have to really make like her, like everything go bad for her. Like not just like in her mind thinking, oh, it's going to go bad. You have to show like he comes into it and he's all maybe laid back about it. This is so, and he doesn't really care about the job where she loves the job. And he doesn't really care, but he comes in and it's all, like so easy for him. He comes up with these great ideas, and then on the other side of it, really what he's doing, like he thinks he's helping her because he thinks that like she's going to improve his ideas or whatever. So Jamie says, agree with Jen. Also, maybe there's a mistake about who is in charge of the research project. Yeah, that would be good.
That one. And another source of tension between them is that, she comes at it from the genealogy side where everything they find is, precious to the family, pictures and things like that. But he came into town to open an antique store or take over an antique store that was, the owner had died. And she thinks that he's only in it for the money he can make off of whatever. So she already is a sort of antagonist toward him.
His character arc can change. So maybe he is in it just to get his like inheritance out of it or the money out of it or whatever.
Right. I was wondering how much of his arc I should focus on.
I think it's great to have double arcs. I think it's great to have I know yours is going to be mystery. Is it going to be a romantic mystery or is it going to be a mystery with some romance in it?
Well, it started out to be like that, but I think it's going to be a romance it's got a mystery in it.
All right, so a romantic mystery. So yes, you have to give both of them a character arc then.
Okay.
If it's going to be romantic.
And maybe knowing her helps him to find his way over that arc into understanding the preciousness of these memories.
Yeah. If no one has ever shown him how precious that is, to him it's not important yet. So see, then she is affecting his arc, and he should also affect her arc. So that would be really good. This is exciting. I'm excited for that story. That could be really good.
Me too. I'm very excited to get this finished this time.
And then your third disaster is 75%. What do you have? Do you have something planned for that?
Yeah, my first and the last, I don't have a problem planning those out at all. I'm really happy with both of those. It's just the middle that always gets me, that stupid murky middle.
Yep. I think that you could do it. Well, if you put enough tension between them, I think what you chose will be great, will be solid.
You guys all gave me some really great ideas. I'm feeling pretty inspired, actually.
See, I'm telling you, what ifs are the best.
Yeah.
We should do this. We should do this like in our office hours at least once a month as we're working. Wouldn't that like keep us motivated, like, and keep us like, oh yeah, that's good, and then get excited about going and writing it.
And sometimes your ideas just get stale, especially when you're working on something for 10 years.
Yeah.
Aw. But that book's coming out, Tina. It's on to new and beautiful things. So I have something to say that's kind of wreck everything we talked about for me. I think I've just decided to change my book.
Oh, no.
I forgot about this other character because I'm throwing around these ideas. And then I forgot about, remember my millionaire that I wrote just recently, where she's in his like apartment or his penthouse for the first time, and something is mentioned to like, I've never been to Las Vegas, and he's like, he makes a mental note to take the weekend off or whatever, or to tell the secretary to take the weekend off. I don't remember. Anyway, when I finished writing that, I really felt like that goes with, if you recall, one of my favorites, for instance, in the last year was you write a story about someone who regrets hitting the button send.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that girl that like is like, no, Mr. So-and-so, and then she actually accidentally hit send. I think that's the same girl that's in the penthouse with this guy, and I think that guy is the boss. So I think that could be a really good story too. So I guess I'm gonna pray about it a little bit because I want both those stories to be written. I just don't know which one to do for Nano. So it's gonna be one of those two. It's either gonna be Marnie with the guy from the painting class, or it's gonna be whatever her name was from from the hit send, and she shouldn't have. So
well, maybe you could start to flesh both of them out and see which one starts to come together better.
Right.
It's a good idea.
Tina, did any of our glorious suggestions spark anything in you?
Yeah, there were some good ones. I don't know if it's going to be puppies. You'll have to read it to find out.
I see Jamie is in the discussion.
Yeah.
And Jamie, we have a little bit of time left here. And do you have time to get on with us live here so you can, like, you were going to explain what you were doing for Nano. So if you have time, go ahead and I know you had the link in our chat box. So go ahead and click it and I'll add you in here. But Jamie had said to us earlier that because before this, Jamie's like, I'm not doing Nano. So she wasn't going to be, part of the Nano chats or the Preptober, which is totally fine. Do what you got to do for your career, right? But then she made the comment that today when we were talking about, she's like that maybe I'll be back in time, and we're like, what?
Well, I hate to break this to little Miss Jamie, but if she's staying at my house a couple days in November, she's doing Nano at least a couple days in November.
All right. Well, I just sent her a message too to see if she would. Maybe she stepped away from the computer for a second. So, all right. Anything else, ladies, before we say goodbye to this?
No, I'm just like, what's next after the what if questions? What are we going to talk about next week?
All right. I'll tell what I do next, and I'll have Rhonda tell what she does next, and we'll figure out what we're going to do. When I'm done with what if questions, I find the most disastrous what ifs in there, and I put them in order. Those become my 3 disasters, which we can talk about next week. And then so that means I start working. I have my trifold board, my science fair project board, and I start working on the layout of the book with Post-it notes. So I would start laying out the actual disasters, and then I fill in chapters later. What would you do next, Rhonda?
Well, I've never done the what if questions before, like you're saying,
right?
But I'm going to do pretty much the same thing. I'm going to get out my old Post-it notes from last year and go through them again and add some of the. After I rewatch this broadcast, I'm going to add some of those in and see how else I can spruce it up.
All right, sounds good. So if I oh, yep, Jamie called away, so she can't jump on. Okay, so I will be also.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I was in the revision process of my book when I got asked to review to be like a beta tester for a class from SPF 101 called Revising Your Book by Jenny Nash. And in there she has this inside outline. And I think I want to sit down with that inside outline before I start my story rather than at the end of my story and see what happens.
All right, cool. All right, so I say next week I'm going to be coming with a trifold board. So I'm going to show people what it looks like and what I'm going to do, and I'll put my disasters up. And then if you guys have any other ideas from what we're talking about, we can slap some more things up there. And how's that sound? You guys can bring whatever your next stage is, bring it with you. We can discuss it.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. And if you guys who are watching, if you have any questions or need any help with your planning, please reach out to us, whether it's through Twitter or Facebook or even Instagram. You can message us and ask us for help. We are here to help you. This is what we're all about on this podcast.
I think they can contact us through the website also at our email address.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because we check our email. So I just worry about people like not seeing it. But yeah, we check our email. So for sure, you can email us. Hey. Cindy Dow says, that sounds interesting, Tina. She's talking about the inside out outline, I'm guessing. So
yeah, it was. I'm excited about it. It's also the same kind of concept from the book Story Genius by Lisa. Is it Crow? Lisa? Oh, I always forget. Crohn. CROHN.
All right.
So.
Also, if you need help with plotting, we know of a resource that you could purchase. If there is a workbook called Plot Your Novel with This Workbook by D.D.
Yes.
Bauman, who Rhonda Hagerman is one half of the D.D. Bauman pen name. Tell us how they can find that book, Rhonda.
It's on Amazon. DD Bowman's Instagram page also has a link to that. I think that's all for right now.
The Christian Indie Writers Podcast Instagram, if you go to our link in our bio, it is listed there as well. So, all right. That was fun. All right, ladies. So until next, well, don't forget we have Tuesday nights, we have our newsletter chat. Friday mornings is the actual podcast. And I will see you guys. I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.